T27. Sponsored by the Auto Connection.
And we greet you from Churchland High School in Portsmouth, Virginia for the 71st Annual Portsmouth Invitational Basketball Tournament, where 64 of the top college basketball seniors from around the nation showcase their talents in front of hundreds of professional scouts, general managers, and agents from all over the world. We are glad you are tuned in on WGNT TV in Hampton Roads and all over the globe through Prep Spin. Matthew Hatfield here with you alongside the coach Ed Young. Which will be wearing the blue uniforms, and Roger Brown's restaurant with the white uniforms. Our coaches for Roger Brown's restaurant, former Lake Taylor and Old Dominion standout Billy Mann at the University of Virginia for Jeff Jones, and also played briefly in the NBA, and Andrea Gardner-Williams for Sales Systems. They are coached by Kenneth Harris, who just recently led Greenwood High School to its second state championship. PJ Honore, once upon a time the head basketball coach at Churchland High here in Portsmouth, and former NBA guard Damon Jones, a part of some deep playoff runs for many years, who also played in college at the University of Houston. And we'll go through the starting lineups here, but what are you looking forward to in this matchup, as it's the last day for these players to show what they're made of in front of all the NBA evaluators?
Well, Mike, Matt, first of all, thanks for giving me good. The big thing about the tournament of this nature, if you've had a bad game or two, it's another chance right here to show what you can do. If you've been playing well, then show your consistency to all the scouts that are here, regardless of what league it is. How consistent are you? Because they're not like bringing in players up and down, up and down. They need to see some kind of consistency. So it's a chance for the players. You know, this is why you're here.
Couple of free throws, 73-72, but ultimately succumbed to Sales Systems succumbed to KND Rounds 74-73. They did get Jonell Davis to score 22 points and Ty Johnson to score 19 points in that loss. But in the win, Kobe Sanders had 26 points, 11 of 19 shooting. Jonell Davis had 22 points, and Luka Poplar popped for 19 points and 6 rebounds in their 92-82 triumph over Norfolk Sports Club. As for Roger Brown's restaurant, they had a loss 81-75 to Portsmouth Sports Club. 7-point first quarter lead, got down 15, battled back thanks to 15 of 16 shooting from the free throw line, 16 points each from Louisville's Terrence Edwards Jr. and Maryland's Julian Reese. Reese had 9 rebounds as well in that game, and then Julian Reese had a double-double of 15 points, 10 rebounds in their 95-87 win over Mike Duman. Yesterday, Khalif Battle, 23 points, battle from Gonzaga, and Vanderbilt's A.J. Hogard with 19 points to boot. We'll pass along that great nugget that we did at the Baroner down there on press row passed along to us couple of nights ago. So let's get the starting lineups again. Sales Systems in the blue uniforms, Roger Brown's in the white jerseys, as it'll be number 10 Khalif Battle, the 6'5" guard from Gonzaga out of Hillside, New Jersey for Roger Brown's, joined by number 11 Kobe Johnson, a 6'6" forward from UCLA out of Milwaukee, Wisconsin. To go with Johnson and Battle, they also have number 4 6'1" guard Sebastian Thomas of Rhode Island. Number 24, Maryland's Julian Reese, the 6'9", 250-pound forward from Baltimore. And to round out the starting 5 for Roger Brown's group, it's 6'6" guard Terrence Edwards Jr. of Louisville out of Atlanta, Georgia. Jonell Davis misses his runner. We'll take the starting lineup here for Sales Systems in just a moment, as they go to work here on defense. Davis gets the steal up ahead to the 6'3" guard Ty Johnson, leaves it off for a runner by Luka Poplar as the 6.
Off of a turnover, make sure we're running the floor. Good drop pass.
Double team comes, bounce pass by Battle. It's going to be stolen away by Poplar again, as he's been active defensively here. Jaywan Roberts loses the handle, the 6'8" forward from Houston. Battle on the move. Battle played for A few different schools in college, actually 4. Started out at Butler for a season, then 3 at Temple, 1 at Arkansas in the SEC, and then helped Gonzaga win a West Coast Conference Tournament championship this year and make the round of 32 in the NCAAs where they were beaten by Houston. I bring that up because Jawan Roberts is on the floor, number 21 in blue, from the Houston Cougars, the national runner-ups this year. Unable to get that shot to fall. Roger Brown's trailing by 2. Here's Janelle Davis against 2 defenders. Leaves it off for Ian Shefflin. Shefflin's fall away won't go. Roberts has it. Roberts, the 6'8" forward from the St. Thomas Virgin Islands, who misses the one-handed hook shot. Reese comes away with it as we're almost 2 minutes gone by in this 5th place consolation game at the 71st annual PIT. Shefflin with the swipe.
Again, we're just filling teams out, filling each other out early in this hit, Matt. But it is a little sloppy, though. I don't know if these guys is how well can you adapt, how quickly can you adapt with new surroundings, new teammates, new situation.
First personal foul is on Kobe Johnson. There's a basket and 1 for 6'3" guard Ty Johnson of UC Davis out of Chicago, Illinois. He's one of the starters that we'll mention along with number 12, Jonell Davis, the 6'4" guard from Arkansas out of Gary, Indiana. Wooga Poplar, number 15, the 6'5" guard from Villanova out of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. We mentioned Jawan Roberts, number 21, the 6'8" forward from Houston, who went from AAC Most Improved Player to 3rd Team All Big 12 and 1st Team All Conference over the past 3 seasons. The free throw is no good, and the rebound is collected by Battle. And rounding out the starting 5 for Sales Systems to go with Johnson, Davis, Poplar, and Roberts is number 22, Ian Shefflin, the 6'8" forward from Clemson, who was 2nd Team All ACC this past year. 4-point lead here early on for Sales Systems. The step back jumper is no good. Rebounded by Poplar. Poplar goes right into the defense, loses the handle. It's tapped out a couple of different times, and now coming away with it, it's going to be Roger Brown's behind Battle. 3-on-2 chance. The bounce to Edwards. Head fake for him. Thomas from the corner gives it to Julian Reese. Face-up game in the lane is good, and Juju Reese gets it to go.
Good movement, good spacing on the fast break, and they found him back in the middle of the lane.
Thomas will draw the foul on Reese, and he'll head to the line to shoot a couple. Sebastian Thomas, who ironically spent his first 2 seasons at Rhode Island, then went to Albany in 2023-2024 before returning to the Rams. He is a Providence, Rhode Island native, and here he is at the line. Been a little spotty at the foul line in his past, but certainly trying to make his mark here at this PIT after averaging 17.2 points, 6 assists, and 4 rebounds per game. URI, our first substitution now. We'll watch Johnson. 21.1 points per game for Johnson this past year. Hits the free throws. Sales Systems on top, 6-2.
A.J. Hoggard in the game for
8. Here's a deep 3 for Battle. Saw his minutes rise from almost 12 a game to almost 20 per game to 27.4 minutes per game 2 seasons ago, and over 33 minutes per contest for Brad Brownell's Tigers. But back to Hoggard for a second here, Ed, as we watch a 3-pointer get rattled home for the Khalif Battle of Gonzaga. But Hoggard, because of NCAA waivers and changes in the bylaw, it allowed him to return to school after competing in 2024 for Michigan State. Doesn't turn pro. Ends up transferring to Vanderbilt, and here he is for a second time. So he's always going to be the answer to a trivia question.
He may not be the only one down the road, but he is definitely the first.
The attacking is good on off the glass. Hoggard with the hoop as the Coatesville, Pennsylvania native scores to make it a 2-point game, 9-7, as we near 6 minutes to go in this first quarter.
It's kind of what he's known for. He's only 6'4", but he's 220.
A deep shot that's going to be off the mark for Edwards. Edwards once the Sun Belt player here at James Madison as they made the NCAA tournament in 2024 before he transferred to Louisville. Janelle Davis with a slippery attack move and the finish, and we've got a timeout on the floor. Sales Systems on top, 13-7 as Davis scores his first hoop of the game, and we'll take a timeout. We're watching continuing coverage of the 71st annual Portsmouth Invitational Basketball Tournament.
Welcome back to the Portsmouth Invitational Tournament on WGNT 27. Sponsored by the Auto Connection.
Game 10 of 12 here as the marathon at the 71st Annual Portsmouth Invitational Basketball Tournament continues. All smiles and laughs for Coach Honore, Coach Harris, Coach Jones, and their guys from Sales Systems who hold a 13-7 lead. Earlier today, it was a 7th-place consolation game that saw Missouri's Tamar Bates and LSU's Cam Carter alongside the coach Ed Young. It's Matthew Half. Watch Kane Shedrick come in and get the lob, and it goes down for the 6'11" forward from Texas out of Holly Springs, North Carolina. Started out his college career, Ed, at UVA for 3 seasons, and the big fella who ended up going to the Longhorns says, hook 'em horns with that hoop and harm.
Tell you what, that was a nice pick and roll you see here. And they throw it up, and it's a tip off his hands, off the backboard, and fouled. How many alley-oops you ever get a chance to see do that off the board?
He was playing volleyball with it.
Yes, he was.
Foul was on Daniel Bacho, who comes in. Daniel Bacho, the 6'11" center from Louisiana Tech, who checks in at 240 pounds out of Paris, France. Bacho was the Conference USA Defensive Player of the Year, who also scored 38 points in a game this season, so he can do it at both ends, defense or offense. With the rock right now, though, it's John L. Davis down low in the post. Face up again. There's Bacho with the left hand as he scores it against Shedrick for 2.
I like big fella Bacho inside. He's kind of long and lean, but he can use playmaking out there.
And that's something I think the scouts are wanting to see out of Davis because he's known, much like Khalif Battle. These are two guys that have gone head-to-head in some tournament games in the past, but he's got that tenacity and scoring punch, can play some combo guard, but he's more of a natural too. He put up just 12 points per game in his lone season at Arkansas with the 4 prior to that at Florida Atlantic, part of a Final Four run when Dusty May was the coach before Dusty departed for Michigan. And Davis wrapped up with 1,838 points and 189 made threes in his college career as we watch a couple of free throws go down for Khalif Battle here to make it a 3-point game, 15-12. His Battle is up to 5 for Roger Browns.
Well, and in this, Matt, you know, these leagues, especially NBA, do you have speed? Do you have strength? Those are prerequisites to play, but you've got to have a certain skill, whether it be shooting or passing or defense.
There's a lob to Bacho as it's Davis right on cue.
Davis
and
again, yep.
Daniel down low.
Again, the more he can do that, the more he's going to be able to play somewhere. May not be NBA, but he's going to have that opportunity to keep showcasing himself for the next couple of years if he could play some playmaking.
Roger Brown says the follow-away shot will not go down. Rebound's going to be saved by Bacho. He takes it off the head of area. And then the shot.
That ball right off the eye area. He wasn't ready for that. Crashed into the tables where the NBA scouts are. And
Coach Andrea Gardner-Williams going over to him to make sure he's all right. Yeah. We watched it in our last game. Something that James Blackburn and I brought up, Ed, was the last game that we watched with Norfolk Sports Club and Mike Duman. Because of injuries, we were down to 6 players on each side because Norfolk Sports Club was without St. John's, Davon Smith, and Butler's Patrick McCaffrey because of injury. So you get to the last game of a tournament, legs are tired, and you want to stay healthy and have enough able bodies to compete and show off what you're made of. Here's Poplar as they reverse the basketball. He'll miss the 3-point shot, rebounded by Battle, up ahead and stolen out by Wuga, who started out at Miami playing for Jim Larinaga and closed out playing for Kyle Neptune at Villanova. Here's his pull-up jump.
Ball. Then he crashed into the tables. Thank God he's okay, but you're right. Injuries in these 3-day, that's something too, Matt, that these kids have to understand. These young fellows got to understand. When there's some of these guys' season's been over, well over a month, been over, you can't let yourself get out of shape if you have an opportunity to showcase talent, to play professional. And some of these guys, I have to say it in the games I've seen, have let themselves go a little bit and winded and get tired, and that's when you get injuries.
Poplar will check out and be relieved by 6'8", 225-pound Marquette forward David Joplin, a native of Milwaukee, Wisconsin. First free throw. foul shooters in this event, Ed, as we've got 4 of the top 5 in free throws. Battle is one of them. We'll see later was number 4 in the country, and Ace Baldwin from Penn State, number 5. As here's an attack move underneath Kobe Johnson. He can't get it to go, but he'll get the return feed from Shedrick, who works hard inside, and they'll score it for 2 to take the lead.
Some good action to the hole, and he got the shot block when he stayed right with it. That was all precipitated by that great defense out front. Caused another turnover.
Tried to ride the side ball screen action, but Baco couldn't get the errant pass, so it'll be back over to Roger Browns, which trailed by 7 early, and now they have the lead 18-17. And another substitution as Jawan Roberts will take his seat in 6'8" Clemson forward Ian Shefflin return. Shefflin, who logged a career-high 20 rebounds in the upset of then number 4 Kentucky back on December the 3rd. So you get 20 rebounds against an SEC power like that, you're doing something right.
Exactly. And he's another guy that doesn't mind banging inside in there, and that's what these leagues are looking for. He's not overly gifted athletically, but he's strong.
That's A.J. Hogarth with the pull-up jumper after playing with the dribble there, changing hands with it. Shefflin, one of 3 Clemson players competing here at the PIT, along with Chase Hunter and Victor Locken. There's an easy score down low for Daniel Baco, who's really showing his effectiveness now. He shot 68.9% from the floor in 32 games this past season. Here's a bounce off to Shefflin. He's going to kick it out. Corner 3 ball for Ty Johnson, and it's money. And Sales Systems regains the lead, 22. Johnson started out at Loyola Chicago, barely played there in 13 games, and then started 93 games over 3 seasons for UC Davis. Wanted to show more efficiency because he was just 29.8% from 3 during his career. However, he lived at the free throw line with 625 attempts, made over 75% of them in college. As we watch a couple of free throws now for A.J. Hogarth after the personal foul is committed by Johnson. 2:20 to go in the first quarter of this. Hogarth splits a pair of free throws, and the rebound for Sales Systems. Very active start here for Daniel Baco. He's been more of a presence than he was in the previous 2 games here at the PIT. And the friendly roll for 3. It's good for Nelly Davis as he knocks it down to make it 25-21.
Got the rolls. You get the rolls, you can do stuff.
Hogarth in traffic, scores it against Baco. Count it, plus the foul as A.J. gets downhill and gets it done. He was a catalyst for a Vanderbilt team that really had a hot start, 15-4 under new coach Mark Byington, who came to Vandy after coaching at James Madison. Ironically enough, he coached Terrence Edwards, who's a teammate of Hogarth's in this PIT, and Vanderbilt made the NCAA tournament this past season. First time they had been there in an awful long time.
Well,
8 years.
We had said before, Hogarth listed at 6'4", 220, and that 220 he uses well, and people bounce off him when he gets to the hole. Had a little smile by getting that foul.
Here's a straightaway 3 for defense, and I think that time the defense quit on him and he scored it with ease.
Yeah, they quit. They didn't. Weak side help was not present. Somebody thought they were going to get help. Went for gamble, stopped, and he gets a layup without worried about getting bumped.
That time a lapse hurting Sales Systems, which now is behind. Can Nelly Davis put him back in the lead? Yes, he can, as he gets right to the rack for 2. 7 points. Scoring is not an issue for Janelle Davis when he makes his mind up to do so.
Yeah, that's what I said. That's what he's known for, scoring. And in a tournament like this, can he play make?
Edwards pulls the trigger on a long one. It's no good. Rebounded by Shefflin. Nearing 1 minute to go in this opening quarter. We've already had 4 lead changes. And there's a basket to increase Sales Systems' advantage to 30-26 as they knock that one down from deep. Sales Systems starting to find the rhythm. They're actually going to call that, I think, a 2 now, not a 3 for Ty Johnson. Yes, the foot was on the line. They initially had it as a 3, so it's actually going to be 29-26 here. So with just under 41 seconds to go in this first quarter. Now they're actually, I think they're going to look at it again, but there's no review system here. But it looked like his foot was indeed on the line as a 2. A couple of free throws now for Julian Reese, who again, has performed well in this event, and people know Julian from his Sky, helped LSU win a national championship. He misses the first of two.
I'd imagine they had some hellacious driveway, backyard brawls on the court going at it. Angel's physical, and Julian don't mind mixing it up either.
63% from the foul line in his career. 359 of 570 at Maryland. Known for his aggressiveness and his rebounding ability, really his forte. Not known as a knockdown shooter, however. Three-point shot is short there for Johnson. Lanky guard who draws a lot of contact as we have more substitutions on the floor. Point lead for Hogard. Gets the screen from Shedrick. Reese is calling for it down low, but it's going to be stolen away by Ty Johnson. Chance in transition, 2-on-1. Oh, Wooga Poplar thought about it, but he couldn't draw the foul.
He looked like a poster at the beginning, and then he had to draw back. He kind of got that bump. And you know, you mentioned about substituting. That's real big. With only 8 players, it's your third day. Dividing the minutes is extremely important. Of course, the committee here wants to see these kids play as equal as possible so everybody gets a shot.
First of 2 free throws good for Poplar. That last possession that they could have held and used more clock, now they'll get it back, but ends up hurting them here as Sales Systems can go up by 4. Their largest lead of the quarter was 7. And Poplar knocks them down to give him 6 on the day. Ty Johnson's got 9. Hogard leads the way for Roger Browns with 10, and he has the basketball. Shot clock turned off now.
Now we're going to definitely have to play for one in terms of drive and kick, a high screen.
Edwards will scoot away. A lob that Shedrick wasn't ready for, and it's going to be Julian Reese saving it. Over to Battle, fall away corner 3 doesn't go, and the rebound is pulled in by Ian Shefflin. So 1 quarter in the books at the 71st annual PIT 5th place consolation game. Roger Browns trailing Invitational Basketball Tournament.
Welcome back to the Portsmouth Invitational Tournament on WGNT 27. Sponsored by the Auto Connection.
You're watching exclusive coverage of the 71st Annual Portsmouth Invitational Basketball Tournament from Churchland High School in Portsmouth, Virginia. Airing on WGNT TV in Hampton Roads and all over the world on Prep Spin alongside the coach Ed Young. It's Matthew Hatfield, our 5th place consolation game here featuring Sales Systems and Roger Browns, both at 1-1 overall. Coach Young right now a 31-27 lead for Sales Systems, despite Roger Brown's getting to the free throw line 8 of 10, out rebounding them and also able to keep them relatively in check in terms of up and down play. Sales Systems, though, spreading out the scoring. Ty Johnson leads the way with 9, he of UC Davis. And now here's an attack move, getting to the free throw line now for the 6th and 7th time in this ball game. Still pretty evenly matched between two teams that have had some ups and downs throughout the week here. Any in particular player catch your eye so far?
I'll tell you what, I'm looking at Hoggard, the trivia question winner, playing twice in the PIT. I like his action to the hole, strong with it. He's working on defense. Again, he's not overly quick, but he's strong. And he's working at both ends of the floor.
Joplin hits the first of 2 foul shots. He went from Big East 6th man award winner in 2022-2023 to a player that started all 37 rebounds per game at over 42% shooting from the floor.
I'm still having a hard time, Matt, trying to get used to guys playing at 3-4 schools, and I'm thinking, well, why'd you leave? You were doing pretty good, and it's just the nature of the newness of college basketball.
Well, Joplin was the guy that ended up staying at Marquette, did not go from place to place. He's one of the rarities in this, but Ed Miller gave us that great stat the first night that we used. 64 participants in this event, 44 of them have played at multiple schools. It is amazing, though, that 20 actually have spent their entire college careers now at one place for 3, 4, 5, even 6 seasons. You don't see even hardly anybody do it anymore, as it's a pull-up jumper for Wooga Poplar. It spins down for 2 as Poplar, who started out for Miami, finished up with Villanova, gets it to go to push his team's lead to 8.
I like his stroke on there. It's just sometimes he rushes his shot, but I like it's kind of what he's known for. He can score.
Toughness, defense, outside shooting. He's got those parts. There's Reese blocked by Joplin inside, but he stays with it. Oh, they're going to call a jump ball.
I thought it was a walk, and then it was a jump ball. Speaking of calls, we have if I'm not mistaken, Matt, the WNBA has sent majority of their officials here. Normally in the past we see a lot of your top college referees, guys in the NCAA tournament. This is the WNBA.
The jump ball is controlled by Roger Browns as Julian Reese wins that. He's trying to body up down low against Shefflin. 3 on the timer. They have to hurry. Pull-up jumper is going to be off the mark for Kobe Johnson. Shefflin picks it up, and now Sales Systems is off and running. Here they come behind Ty Johnson. Behind the back. Oh, what a laser pass to Jaywan Roberts, who throws it down.
Beautiful no-look pass by Ty Johnson right inside. Defense, everybody's going to the sideline where he was headed. Quick stop, throw it inside, count it.
Terrence Edwards, triple. It will stay here with Roger Browns.
Again, I'm noticing guys tugging on their shorts a little bit. With injuries on these rosters, you're right. They're down to basically, it looks like 6, 7 guys playing.
Going back to Poplar for a second, Ed, how about his performance in the Crown, that new tournament out in Las Vegas, as a 3-point shot will not go down for Edwards. Long rebound to Kobe Johnson, and it's stolen by Poplar right on cue here. On April 5th in that 104-98 overtime loss to UCF, as there's a triple that is knocked down for UC Davis's Ty Johnson for Sales Systems, but for his teammate here for Sales Systems, Poplar, in that overtime loss to Central Florida, 32 points, 11 of 11 from the foul line, 3 of 5 from deep, 11 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 turnover. He did everything you could ask for in that game, as there's an attack move, no good. Rebound coming away with it is Shefflin. Villanova undergoing the coaching change as Kevin Willard leaves Maryland, the guy that coached Julian Reese, who's on the floor, and he goes to Villanova.
Well, that's the time of the year you see it. I think the last call, I think it was 48 Division I men's basketball coaching changes.
Really?
And there's still 3 mid-level jobs are still open. I see Florida A&M just hired Charlie Ward remember from back in the days of football.
Yeah,
Of
Florida
course,
State
he was
University.
a two-sport athlete, but he's going to coach basketball at Florida A&M next year.
Three-pointer from the wing for David Joplin of Marquette, and that makes it 42-27. Of course, Ward also played in the NBA for the New York Knicks, who are in action later today against the Detroit Pistons. Sales Systems on top of Roger Browns by 15 at the PIT.
Welcome back to the Portsmouth Invitational Tournament on WGNT 27. Sponsored by the Auto Connection.
At the 71st Annual Portsmouth Invitational Basketball Tournament, our score, Sales Systems 42, Roger Browns 27 in our fifth place consolation matchup. I want to shout out our entire team that's bringing you the angles and views all week long here at the PIT. You watch Caden Shedrick there from Texas. In that prep spin truck, Joe Allen up here. Alongside the coach Ed Young, it's Matthew Hatfield here. We've got more interviews coming away and some halftime features too, as Shedrick will bounce the basketball over to Kobe Johnson. Pull-up jumper for the UCLA 6'6" forward guard is off the mark. Rebounded by Julian Reese. Step back jumper for Terrence Edwards from straight away on a three-point try is going to be short, and it's rebounded inside by Wooga Poplar. Get it up ahead. Poplar gets it back. Now tries to drive it on Johnson. He's stuck with the dribble, nowhere to go. And he'll bounce it over to Johnson with 11 on the timer. Sales Systems in control right now by 15. Little hesitation move as Reese gets switched onto him, and down low they go. Two defenders converge onto Daniel Bacco, who will be fouled with under 6 minutes to go in this first half.
Working that pick and roll, which you're going to see a lot, especially in the NBA. A lot of your professional leagues, they try to make you have to decide how you're going to guard it. You're going to switch, you're going to double. Where's your weak side help coming from, if at all? You're going under the screen, over the screen. A lot of decisions you have to make when you're playing that.
Bacco hits the first of two free throws. He ranked second in the nation in field goal percentage, set a new program record at La Tech in that category. Started out his college career for 2 seasons at Texas Tech before going to Louisiana Tech over the last two, and he knocks down a pair of free throws here after the first foul is committed by Edwards. 17-point cushion now for Sales Systems.
Louisiana Tech, didn't one of your favorite players play there one time?
Mailman did, and also when you think back to some of the alums for them, how about football, Terry Bradshaw?
Yeah, a lot of people don't know Terry Bradshaw played Louisiana Tech.
Blonde bomber, Pittsburgh Steelers.
Oh, that was way, way back, man. Yeah. You're going way back for that one. Karl Malone, though. I've had people tell me they thought Karl Malone played for University of Houston. Where did they get that?
I don't know where they got that from. Damon Jones, one of the coaches out here, did, as the first of two free throws is good for Hogard.
For Sales System. You know, we were looking at a really close game earlier, then all of a sudden, those 10 any level ball you play, if you turn it over and your opponent can score on it, you in trouble.
And they're not hitting three. What we watched last night, where it was 3 points, shots galore, and that classic matchup between K&D Rounds and Portsmouth partnership. K&D Rounds winning 94-93 to punch their ticket to the championship. And they'll take on Jani-King, who outlasted Portsmouth Sports Club 82-80 in an equally competitive semifinal game in terms of excitement down to the wire. Missed shot here is Khalif Battle on the move as he tries to scoot by two defenders, and he got tied up. Jump ball here with 5:11 to go in the first half. The 1 for 9 shooting from deep really hurting Roger Browns right now, as Edwards has yet to find the touch from deep. So you watch the replay of this one. He got tied up. Great job defensively by David Joplin from Marquette.
You notice some of these shots are going short, which usually means your legs are tired. And like I said, they're here since Wednesday, and it's all about play. They don't really get much practice in. I'm sure the guys are getting rest, but still going hard again after over a month. Some of these guys haven't played in well over a month. It's a little different on the body.
There's a foul as Reese commits it against Joplin, who's got an interesting build. He's listed as a this tournament, probably more that tweener type, 3-4-2-3 with the way he plays, and his outside shooting percentage dropped each of the past 3 seasons from almost 40% to 35.5%, 32.3%, but in part of that was because his volume of shots increased. You take a lot more shots, it could happen that way as he misses the first of 2 free throws.
Right. And again, some of these sizes, 6'8", 225 back in the day, that was some pretty good size for playing in the league. Now you've got point guards at 6'8", 225. So just, again, speed, strength in professional leagues is big because everybody mostly has that. It's what talent are you bringing to that league?
From the corner, Hogarth trying to cross up his defender in Baco. Now the attack with Kobe Johnson, but it's going to be loose, and here comes Uga Poplar on the move. And it's going to trickle out of bounds. Sales Systems with just 7 players today, Ed, as I see in a sweatshirt not suiting up is Kobe Sanders, the 6'8" guard from Nevada out of San Diego, California. He turned in quite a season at almost 16 points per game for the Wolfpack. Spent 4 seasons at Cal Poly before finishing up at Nevada to conclude with 1,531 points. And why is that important? Well, because he had 26 points a couple days ago on 11 of 19 shooting, 3 of 6 from downtown. Lead score for them in their win for Sales Systems, 92-82 over Norfolk Sports Club. So it could be something minor injury related, we're not sure, but he is, I guess, the 5th scratch of our day in terms of not seeing the floor, perhaps because of injury. And there's also another young man who's also out. Will make it 6 now because we look at Roger Browns and number 20 as we watch Jawan Roberts shoot free throws here. That is the 6'8" forward from Marshall out of Nigeria. Don't worry, I'll give the name for you. Obinna Enachili Killen.
Killen. I'll just call him, he's killing.
He does kill it in terms of blocking shots. He led America in blocks per game at almost 3.2. He is not suiting up today, it looks like. Could be injury related, we're not really sure. But so 1 on each team. We're not down to 6 guys per squad, but 7.
Still makes a difference. It does make a difference. I see some guys, like I said, hunched over a little bit more, doing the front free throw shooting, whatever. And, I can show what you can do, but you don't want to possibly go to the NBA Combine later in June.
And that's an interesting thought. I want to touch on that concept because some may look at it as, where is that competitive? We see a lot of players in the NBA load management, but you also, with your audition, this is a job audition for these players as we watch 7 on the shot clock here for Roger Browns, trailing it by 17 in our 5th place consolation game. It's also not for a championship, and you can hurt your stock by negatively performing. So that's also, if there is something you're dealing with or health related, you don't want to force the issue there. As Battle doesn't see the shot clock and didn't recognize it, and that's going to result in a turnover here. Something he's going to have to keep an eye on here as his basketball IQ continues to get better here. But Enachili Killen was the Sun Belt Conference Defensive Player of the Year. We watched a couple of Sun Belt players in the last matchup with C.J. Huntley from App State and Say Edwards of Georgia State.
See, your body work is what you did during the season. So a lot of these guys, coaches, scouts that are here, know what these guys can do. Here they just want to kind of see it against this type of talent and under these conditions.
Battle's three-pointer rims out. Inside the rebound for Reese. He's blocked from behind by Roberts, but look at the hustle staying with it as Caden Shedrick who was primarily a backup at UVA. He made just 34 starts in 76 games there, but he went to Texas and started all 35 games this past season.
Got good size, good length, got good shooting ability. He will be playing for money. Of course, we used to say that, but they play for money now in college. So
yeah,
he's been playing for money. He's going to continue to play for some
I wonder where you were
money.
going with that, because nowadays everybody's getting money, it feels like, as Reese will head to the bench and Edwards comes in for him. But to your point, 59% from the field at UVA, a 117.4 offensive rating, and a 20.4 usage were all solid. He's fairly efficient, yet there are some wondering, are there limitations to his game? Well, if there are, he can still make some money playing professionally overseas, like a lot of guys from this event.
A lot of these guys to play, and sometimes the leagues that they'll pick, they can really stand out with the talent level they have, whereas in the NBA, they're 15th man.
Roberts might have got away with a walk there. Here's a corner three for Johnson, no good, but there's Roberts, that hard hat, blue 15-point game.
I love watching Roberts play this year for Houston and Houston in general. They had a great run into the Final Four.
Off the glass for two for Ty Johnson to push it back to 17. Yeah, heck of a job by Kelvin Sampson and his group. A lot wonder what will happen if Milos Uzan returns for them, and L.J. Cryer so close to a national championship as they fell in a heartbreaker to the Florida Gators. Here's a three for Edwards. Ring it up for Terrence Edwards Jr., the Atlanta native, knocking it down from distance as Roger Browns is trying to inch closer.
Yeah, Terrence.
His first 6 shots, but now he's made, I believe, 3 in a row here.
Yeah, he was struggling on that shot. But see, what he did there was he had his feet set. Actually, just as he caught, his feet were already set, and he nailed it.
Excuse me, 2 in a row. Here's Wooga Poplar, who knocks down his 4th jumper of the day. 53-36 as Sales Systems is starting to get more breathing room. Here's a long-range shot that is good for Kobe Johnson.
I don't know about these kids named Kobe. They all can shoot. Kobe Sanders, who's out today with an injury, he can really shoot it. Kobe Johnson knocking him down.
John L. Davis over to Jawan Roberts. Losing the handle as it's a turnover back over to Roger Browns. And we've got a timeout on the floor with 1:29 until intermission. Sales Systems on top of Roger Browns here in the 71st Annual Portsmouth Invitational Basketball Tournament.
Welcome back to the Portsmouth Invitational Tournament on WGNT 27. Sponsored by the Auto Connection.
Shooting percentages starting to pick up for each side as you get a close-up look at Ian Shefflin from the Clemson Tigers, the ACC's most improved player in 20 round. 53-39 with the coach Ed Young, Matthew Hatfield, here at the 71st Annual Portsmouth Invitational Tournament. Both teams making their last 3 shots, one of which was a 3. UCLA's Kobe Johnson with a 3 as well for Roger Browns, and Sales Systems getting a tip in from Houston's Jawan Roberts, a layup in the paint from UC Davis's Ty Johnson, and a triple from Villanova's Wooga Poplar as play resumes with Khalif Battle at the controls. He from Gonzaga. 5 boards to go with his 7 points thus far. Bounces it over to Caden Shedrick. Edwards now with it. Kobe Johnson gives it back to Terrence. Stops at the foul line. Fall away shot is going to be off the mark, but Caden Shetter gets the offensive rebound. He was kind of sandwiched in between David Joplin from Marquette and Villanova's Wooga Poplar of Sales Systems. And it'll be a foul on Poplar with 1:08 to go in the half.
I noticed with Edwards, when he gets his feet set, he's deadly. On those fallaways where he's moving, he becomes like 50% worse as that shooter.
There's a nice attack move by Wooga Poplar, getting woogie with it.
No, the song with him would be, was it Graham Central State? Wooga Wooga.
Oh, there you go. Wooga Wooga.
Chugga. Yeah. I Can't Stop the Feeling. That's the name of that song
you're right.
for Wooga. Yeah.
It was. Terrence Edwards gets it.
Oh, that's a turnover that should not have happened.
I think he keeps doing that. He'll make the defense woozy is what he'll do as we watch the clock tick down to.
Tell you what, Wooga will definitely be playing somewhere for money. I'm not sure NBA. I'm not an expert at it, but he can shoot it. He's quick on that first step. He defends. He got ups. He'll be playing.
So will P.J. Haggerty, who was the AAC Player of the Year from Memphis, who's going to get a lot of money transferred. But everybody's getting money these days. But you're talking about the money once you're college.
Yeah, I keep reminding they're getting money now. Because back in the day, you didn't say that.
Poplar's trying to go in for a highlight reel play. Can't complete it. Roberts has it. Gets rid of it. Shefflin to try to beat the horn, and it's going to be off the mark. And we'll go to halftime with Sales Systems on top by 14. Their largest lead was 17. Roger Browns and Sales Systems both 1-1 here at the 71st Annual Portsmouth Invitational Basketball Tournament from Churchland High School in Portsmouth, Virginia.
The championship of the 71st Annual Portsmouth Invitational Tournament at 7.
Welcome back to the Portsmouth Invitational Tournament on WGNT 27. Sponsored by the Auto Connection.
Third quarter about to start here in our fifth place consolation game at the 71st Annual Portsmouth Invitational Basketball Tournament. Sales Systems on top of Roger Brown's 55-41. Alongside the coach Ed Young, I'm Matthew Hatfield. First half numbers of note, 13 points apiece for Ty Johnson out of UC Davis and Villanova's Wooga Poplar. Leading rebounder was Houston's Shawan Roberts with 6 for Sales Systems, which shot 55.6% from the floor. Roger Brown shooting 36.1% from the field, 12 of 14 from the foul line, however. They were led by Vanderbilt's A.J. Hogarth with 14 points. What caught your eye in that first half, Coach?
Well, it was back and forth early. I mean, Cell System had an early lead, and then it went back and forth. But Roger Brown's shooting has gone stone cold. As you said, 36%, 13 turnovers. That they know that they have the same amount of turnovers they do field goals. That's not good.
And it'll be with the basketball. Roger Brown's in the white uniforms are going right to the hoop with a burst is Khalif Battle, known to be that explosive bucket getter with a scoring mentality to make it now a 12-point gap in our contest. I want to shout out John Gary, who came up to us here during our halftime break. He's been watching the action all week long. He says on TV, we're airing on WGNT TV in the Hampton Roads market and also through PrepSpin globally. And you can also check out more about PrepSpin. Follow them on the Twitter or the X now at PrepSpin and go.prepspin.com and see some of the archived footage. And I also want to shout out my father who's watching at home. He's a JMU grad, class of 77, rooting for Terrence Edwards out there, though he left his Dukes to finish up at Louisville. That song title that you were trying to think of earlier was Hooked on a Feeling.
That's where it was.
That was the song you were looking for.
If anybody's going to know it, Mike Hatfield knows his music.
He is. That's why they call him
DJ Hat. Yeah. Yes, every. Yep.
A.J. Hogarth with the basketball, 14-point gap.
Available for weddings, funerals.
Not anymore. He's retired.
And bar mitzvahs. He'll come out of retirement. Just tell him Ed Young sent you.
Yeah, I'm sure. Bill will be sent to you for sure. Here's Julian Reese with the basket on the follow. How about Julian Reese? Just his motor and activity. It doesn't seem like he's always playing hard, but he stays engaged in the game.
I'm watching the young fella. He's got abilities. I think he needs to reshape his body a little bit more, and he can be a major factor. I think because he rebounds, he knows the game, hustles. There he just ran the floor all the way down through.
He's just not a three-point threat, which is okay. You can still play in professional basketball, even though the three-point shot is utilized so much. It's just not a threat in that area. You got shot by Johnson?
You got to do other things too. You can't just have a team of a bunch of three-point shooters. I would say you will not make the playoffs yearly. You're going to have guys that do some other things, who do the grind work.
Johnson now with 15 in our game. Here's a deep one, and it's good. Bring that three-point shot up for Khalif Battle of Gonzaga. Battle can get it hot as much as anybody out here. Both Nelly Davis and him are capable of ripping off 8, 10, 12 points in a row in this type of setting. Here's Davis going against Reese, and that was a tough cover for Reese, and Davis was able to score.
Khalif Battle, I think somebody told him at halftime, hey, you're not playing real well. Your showing here is going to be done after this game. What you doing? And he's come out strong.
Yeah, more turnovers and field goals in the first half, and he's been a little bit on the up and down side of things. He had 5 steals the first contest, 81-75 loss to Portsmouth Sports Club, then had a better offensive showing, 23 points in the 95-87 win over Mike Duman. It's just a matter of being consistent both ends of the floor. Here's Davis for 3, and that one's good. You can count on Nelly Davis to knock down difficult shots, and he's up to 14 in our game.
Yeah, he's another kid, I think, once he gets going. I'm a big fan of John Calipari's coaching style and watching him play with Arkansas. He can shoot it up.
5 of 7 from the floor to go with his 5 assists versus 1 turnover so far. That's going to be the key element, that assist-to-turnover ratio for Davis in his development.
They list him at 6'4". Now, I know we're up high. He don't look 6'4". He looks about 6'2"-ish, and that would be a situation where can he play some point guard, combination point guard and the 2 guard.
Khalif Battle on the run. Battle goes right into the body, count it, plus the foul as Ty Johnson could not stop Khalif Battle with a full head of steam to the rack.
Yeah, taking it to the hole, going strong, getting a foul, and score. And that's one thing I know. And still get a shot off, still complete a play as opposed to flipping, flying all over the place. That has something to do with your strength.
This is starting to take on a Battle versus Davis one-on-one showdown, perhaps, for a stretch of this game, maybe down the stretch at the end.
You know what? Could it come down to if they get a maybe a late second-round pick or a tryout, it comes down, and the team says, we can only take one of you two, so we're going to watch you in this game.
And right now they're covering each other.
You know, when I coached here, Matt, I did that. I used to tell kids, hey, I heard it from the NBA scouts. They're comparing you with one of our opponents.
Now, were you being truthful, or were you just making that up?
No, well, let's just say I was giving him intrinsic motivation.
Intrinsic motivation.
I said, the kid you're going against is outplaying you right now. And I heard by some of the NBA scouts saying, of you and him, they're only going to take one after this game. So
heard it through the grapevine, huh? Bringing up Marvin Gaye now. You heard it through the grapevine.
Oh, I love that one. I love that song.
13-point lead, Hogard. Look at the body control against Shefflin. It's going to roll around and go down.
He got a double rim hit, score, counted Hogard. I like it. Becoming my favorite player.
A.J. Hogard, quiet confidence, calm demeanor, and stepping up in pressure moments, too. 11-point game. We've got a timeout on the floor at the 71st annual PIT.
Welcome back to the Portsmouth Invitational Tournament on WGNT 27. Sponsored by the Auto Connection.
Thank Auto Connection for its sponsoring and all those that are partnering up with us, bringing you the coverage all week long at the 71st annual PIT from Churchland High School. Sales Systems on top of Roger Brown's 64-53 with 6:45 to go in the third quarter. You see the big view of Churchland High School here, home of the Truckers with the coach Ed Young on Matthew Hatfield. Sales Systems on top by 11 behind 15 points from Ty Johnson. Guard from UC Davis. And how about this court for a second here, Ed? I brought it up the last couple of days for some of our viewers. If you're new to watching today, I'll bring it up again. This court is actually in the NBA 2K video game. A salute to Michael Whittington, the former athletic director here, is now at Lakeland High School in Suffolk, who helped get that happen. Ooh. How about that follow jam by Ty Johnson?
Oh, my.
Boom.
Yeah, he was mad at that ball. He just smacked it right through the rim at another little guy there. 6'3", jumped it up and
look at this.
Ooh. He double-handed that, smacked that in there.
Hogard and company trailing it by 13.
It looks like one of the shots that you tried to shoot on me, and I blocked it in like the 9th row.
Battle gets hit on a corner three free throws for him, and he's not the guy you want to put at the free throw line. 123 of 132 at the charity stripe. He's 5 for 5 today.
Youngsters, take out there, take a look at this. This is what you got to do. You get to the foul line, you should tell our guys, you got to be automatic. Nobody's covering you. You got 9 seconds to shoot it. Why do we miss? He doesn't.
59% shooting for Sales Systems compared to 41% for Roger Brown's. Stick around. We've got 2 more games coming in the third-place matchup with Portsmouth Sports Club against Portsmouth Partnership, set to tip at 5 o'clock Eastern today, and our championship at 7 o'clock with Janet K&D Rounds on this Easter weekend. Tournaments had so many greats such as Tim Hardaway, John Stockton, Jimmy Butler, Scottie Pippen, Dennis Rodman, Jeremy Lin, Earl the Pearl Monroe, Rick Barry, and many others.
Earl the Pearl. There's a name from way past.
We love that one. 10-point game. We talked about that earlier. James Blackburn and I. Earl the Pearl with the Winston-Salem roots and played with the New York Knicks. As there's going to be a foul here with just under 6 minutes to go in our third period. Battle up to 18 points on a perfect 8 of 8 from the line.
I remember seeing John Stock play here.
And his
years
son
ago.
David got to play here a few years
Yeah,
back.
one of your now see, that's another good trivia. How many father-son combinations have played in the PIT?
We'll put that out to the audience out there if they're watching through socials. Hit us up on Prep Spin on X or yours truly at Hatfield Sports. There's a 3-ball from David Joplin, the Marquette forward, knocking it down from deep, and that's something the scouts want to see. Can he catch and shoot? The outside percentage has dipped, but can he be a catch-and-shoot guy and be consistent? Chippy's underneath, and Ruga Poplar pulls it away. Poplar's going to try to attack all the way. His attack won't result in a basket, and Julian Reese clears it out. Seeing some fatigue now with some shots being left short for both sides. Here's a 3 in transition.
Yeah, I predict Khalil Battle is going to score the next points in a dramatic way. Khalil Battle 4.
Not so sure now because here's
nope, there's Edwards
Jr.
got
with
it.
the dunk. But Battle seems to have the most energy in the tank.
Yeah, he has.
Guys out here.
I think he's conserving a little bit now because he came out of the locker room. Somebody had to get on him because he was playing way harder than he did first half.
And Rogers Brown's really missing that mobile forward who can impact the game defensively. And Obina Enachili Killen from Marshall, who's not suited up today. Sales Systems, if you're just joining us, without Kobe Sanders, their 6'8" guard from Nevada, who led them in scoring the last time out with 26 points here at the PIT just a couple days ago.
Another kid with a really good stroke, Sanders. He'll be playing.
Really came out of nowhere after his first game. You didn't know he was much on the floor that much, and then second game he lit it up. Here's Janelle Davis, loses the handle. Edwards has it on the move. They're going to cut him off, potentially head fake twice for Edwards, and then the third time he's going to score it. 9-point gap suddenly, so the lead that was 17 is shrinking before Sales Systems' very eyes.
Again, you score on turnovers, you get back in the game quick.
Poplar might have walked, he did walk. It took a while to get the call, but he did.
All 72 other referees in the building made that call before the ones with the gray-black shirts made it. Yeah, it was a little bit of a walk.
Well, the problem was the other 72 referees didn't count just the 2 in the stripes to go with our officials, Teresa Stuck, Ryan Sassani.
Yeah, we used to say striped shirts, but these referees do not have the white, black stripes. It's a gray with some black on the side. It's a different style.
You got to look a moment ago at Andrea Gardner-Williams, one of our coaches here at the PIT, and tucked it into the MEAC Hall of Fame back in 2014. And there's a three-pointer that is good. Ruga Poplar, as Sales Systems is up 12 again. Poplar is up to 16 on the day to go with 5 rebounds.
Yeah, shooting ball fairly well.
Toss over to Edwards as we tick under 3 minutes to go in this third quarter.
And when these players come into here, they only get like one practice, Matt, and then the coaches put some stuff in real quick, not a lot. Really rely on each other's abilities, talents, and just basic basketball. You know, movement, spacing, a lot of motion offense where people get to handle and they look for one-on-one breakdowns, and definitely a lot of screen, pick and roll, ball screens. That's your offense.
You mentioned Andrea Gardner-Williams in the MEAC Hall of Fame, Howard University. Damon Jones, who played professionally in Denmark, Ireland, and Spain for 3.5 years. Irish Super League, and of course many people know him from his days in the NBA with the Cleveland Cavaliers, the Miami Heat, some other teams like the Detroit Pistons, Dallas Mavericks, Golden State Warriors. Over 4,000 points scored in his NBA career, and an NBA champion as an assistant coach in 2016 for the Heat.
He was what we would call a journeyman that everybody wanted because he fit his role on each team that he was on. And I remember as a player, tough, not good defender too. Good, really good college career. So, but yeah, he did. People say, well, you played for a lot of teams, nobody wanted him. No. When you play for a lot of teams, a lot of people wanted you.
I think that's a moniker people throw out maybe wrongfully. That a journeyman's a bad thing, but that's for Damon Jones Gates. It kept him in the league.
Yes,
a Joe
absolutely.
comes to mind who's going in the Virginia Sports Hall of Fame here coming up later this month. And
yep.
He was the number 1 pick out of this area from Maury High School in Norfolk, Golden State Warriors.
Heck, Shaquille O'Neal was a journeyman at the end of his career. Played for, 3 or 4 teams right at the end. You're in the league, you're playing. I don't see how that's a bad thing.
14-point lead for Sales Systems. Poplar almost lost the handle. Here's Wooga on the move, and Wooga off the glass for 2. Oh. Wooga Poplar's got some boogie in his game. 16-point advantage.
It's there. I wish they would play that song over the PA system during a timeout. We have to let who's ever playing music, let them know.
You got a DJ up here. Here's a layup for Ty Johnson as Sales Systems has.
Next year I'm going to request Mike Hatfield.
They've recovered their mojo. There's a block underneath from Sheff, but it's going to go out of bounds here with 1:07 to go. But Sales Systems was watching its lead dissipate, and now they've responded here, Ed, with 9 unanswered. It got down to single digits. Now it's almost up to 20 again.
Yeah, fatigue. When you're making mistakes or turnover, you're missing shots, it's a little harder to go the other end. You start feeling your little hurts and whatever.
Browns, here's the other tricky part, Ed. 3 games in 3 days. Unlike Sales Systems, which played on Wednesday, early game on Thursday, break till Saturday morning, afternoonish. This is 3 games in
down a set. It definitely takes its toll, but again, it's part of what the scouts look at. I mean, they may take that in consideration, but on the other hand, you might be in a league that plays 4 or 5 nights a week. Your team gets in the playoffs. You might play 4 games in 5-6 days. So you just want to see what you can do.
Khalif Battle high off the window for 2. And it looks like thought we might get a timeout here, but
no, that was a whistle. Could delay a game technical.
Sales Systems will look to possibly hold for their final shot of the quarter, leading by 14. Here's Ty Johnson with 19, leading the way. Waits for the screen from Roberts. Hesitation goes left, bounces it to Juwan Roberts, who rolls hard to the basket. The follow is there, though, on the tip-in by Ian Shefflin, doing the little things.
Yeah, I thought Roberts got banged up here at the rim, but they didn't call it. Shefflin was right there to tip it back in.
Edwards trying to answer. It's no good on the runner, and it's been a frustrating afternoon for Roger Brown's Restaurant. They trail Sales System in this one by 16. We've got the 4th quarter finished around the corner from the PIT.
Welcome back to the Portsmouth Invitational Tournament on WGNT Action.
71st Annual Portsmouth Invitational Basketball Tournament at Churchland High School. Roger Brown's trailing Sales Systems 80-64 as our fourth quarter gets underway with Ed Young on Matthew Hatfield. Sales Systems on the run here with Jonell Davis. His runner's no good. Rebounded inside by Khalif Battle. Kobe Johnson with it. Pull-up jumper from the elbow is good for the UCLA 6-6 forward. Kobe Johnson out of Milwaukee helped the Bruins reach the round of 32 in this year's NCAA. Known as a hard-nosed on-ball defender, he's got that lateral mobility and length also as assets for him.
Yeah, and he shoot the ball fairly well, too. I saw the young man, I forget who I don't know if it was Oregon or Oregon State, had a tremendous ball game against them.
And Kobe Johnson came to UCLA from crosstown rival USC. 82-68 now the tally as Terrence Edwards Jr. answers the jump shot from Wooga Poplar.
You don't usually see a Southern Cal kid going to UCLA and vice versa.
Well, nowadays they can leave from Duke to Carolina, vice versa, or go from anywhere, anytime.
Well, you know, it's where the money is.
As the shot clock horn sounds, the three-pointer will be off the mark for Jonell Davis. Caden Shedrick of Texas pulls away the rebound. Here's Terrence Edwards. Good. When his shot's not on balance, it's a little bit
Yes,
iffy.
it's funny how guys who can really nail shots, when their feet are set, they're deadly. But when they have to move or if they're leaning back on fallaways, they become very below average shooter.
His rebounding went up to 5.9 per game this season, but his free throw percentage dipped from 84.1% to 72.6% and 70.4% over the last 3 seasons. And there's Julian Reese of Maryland, a part of that Terps team that reached the Sweet 16, scoring it. We talked about Kevin Willard, now the new coach at Villanova. He coached Reese at Maryland. And there's an attack move for Poplar, who will draw the two-shot foul at the very end. That was a late call, but a couple of free throws coming from Villanova.
And, of course, the new Maryland coach, Buzz Williams,
who was in the building last night watching Wade Taylor IV of Texas A&M.
It's his former team.
You've had a couple of head coaches Division I in attendance. Fran McCaffrey, who left Iowa to become the head coach at Penn. He was watching his son, who didn't compete earlier today, Patrick from Butler. Finished up his college career at Butler after playing for Fran at Iowa. We've seen Buzz Williams in the building. I understand that the new coach at VCU, Mr. Martelli, will be in the house tonight. At least I've heard that. That's what the little birdie told me. So a lot of coaches supporting former players at this event, and he'll be here to see Earl Timberlake from Bryant University.
Talked to a good friend of mine, head coach at Appalachian State, Dustin Kearns, here to watch his youngster play.
That's right, Coach Kearns. Didn't have a player this year, but Kyle O'Quinn, who starred for the Spartans, was this year's celebrity luncheon speaker. There's Caden Shedrick trying to back down against the smaller defender, head fake, and he's going to score it with ease. And that time it was a matter of 6'11" is going to get the better of 6'3" in the paint.
Tell you what, I think Shedrick's helped.
Follow-away shot for Shefflin won't go. Offensive rebound for Ty Johnson. The kick out in 3. It is wet for Wooga Poplar as that one barely even grazed the net.
Wooga up to what now? 20.
3 for Kobe Johnson. It won't answer. Instead, Poplar already surpassing his 19 from the last time out. That 3 was a heat check.
Yeah, that was a little bit too sudden. I guess he was feeling it.
But Jawan Roberts keeps it alive for his team with an offensive rebound. However, the shot clock is at 6. Ty Johnson has to do something with it quickly. Johnson goes, and he's going to be swiped out by Battle to beat the buzzer. Poplar off the back end of the iron, rebounded by Shedrick.
Yeah, Poplar put up a couple bombs quick. As I said, he was feeling it.
Terrence Edwards' runner won't go. It's going to stay at this end as it trickles out of bounds with 6:04 remaining.
I used to have players, when they would miss shots like that, I said, what are you doing? Coach, I'm feeling it. I said, well, I'll tell you what you do. Miss one more like that, and you're going to feel how it is to sit on the bench.
You know what I'm feeling? A timeout. 6:04 to go. 15-point lead for Sales Systems at the 71st annual PIT.
Welcome back to the Portsmouth Connection.
Ten of 12 here at the 71st annual Portsmouth Invitational Basketball Tournament from Churchland High School, where Sales Systems has a comfortable 15-point lead on top of Roger Brown's Restaurant, 87-72 in our fifth place consolation game. Don't forget, our third place consolation game comes your way at approximately 5 o'clock Eastern time tonight. Portsmouth Sports Club against Portsmouth Partnership, and then our championship at 7 o'clock Eastern with Jenny King against K&D Rounds with the coach Ed Young. I'm Matthew Hatfield. We say hello to all of you out there watching on WGNT TV and on Prep Spin around the world. The dunk attempt was no good for Shedrick. Here comes Janelle Davis, and his runner is good. Davis up to 16 points. Pass is deflected by Ian Shefflin, and here is Khalif Battle swiping it away from Nellie Davis. Terrence Edwards for three, rebounded by Shefflin. 17-point lead for Poplar and Sales Systems. Trying to put Shedrick on skates, fall away, and it's going to spin out. Terrence Edwards getting to it.
Ooh,
up
nice.
Shedrick, and he runs the floor. This
Nice
time the
pass.
dunk is good.
Terrence Edwards on a beautiful left-hand bullet pass right down the lane.
How about his vision? You know, Edwards, motor with the ability to score inside and out. He's got that scoring touch and win skills to take over a game as Hogard goes right to the cup for two off the glass. Edwards made 162 threes in his college career. James Madison and Louisville, including a 33% clip as a fifth-year senior.
Wow, that's pretty good. That's good.
Edwards is trying to get a possession change for Roger Browns, looking to make one last comeback effort. They have a rally in them, down by 13. Their biggest deficit was 18 late in the third quarter. Wooga Poplar and company are thinking otherwise. Davis has it with 3 on the shot clock. Gets it over to Joplin, and he put Joplin in a bad spot there.
Yeah, too far away. And again, not realizing shot. Time and situation, knowing the shot clock situation, got him the ball a bit too far out.
You know, that'll be a turnover probably on Joplin, but that really goes on Davis in the sense of he put him in that situation with the shot clock.
he was the cause of the turnover. He didn't get it, but the shot clock violation is basically team turnover.
Hogard dishes it over to Kobe Johnson. With his three-pointer unable to go down, it'll be Sales Systems basketball. Just over 4 minutes to play. How close were they to going to the championship game? They were down 23 points. Took a brief lead with under a minute to go until Sean Padula, the Ole Miss guard, lifted K&D Rounds to a 74-73 win. Otherwise, Sales Systems is thinking, you know what, we could have been playing on championship Saturday night for a title.
Yeah, Padula has had a really good tournament so far. Was the thorn in their side in that game.
Poplar hits the fall away. Well, tonight we'll see Padula and Candy Rounds against Janikin with a well-rounded roster. Nelly Jr. Joseph, Igor Milicic, St. Thomas, Gabe Madsen, Chris Youngblood, Curtis Jones, Bez and Bang, and Stephen Ashworth. I would venture to say your leader of the pack right now going into tonight for MVP of the PIT is Padula. It can certainly change, but he's probably the front runner at the moment.
I would agree with that. I would agree with that.
Curious to see if Zach Fremantle is close to 100%. The 6'9" from Xavier fouled out in the game, a little banged up. We'll see what he can do, but he's a key guy for them. Chase Hunter from Clemson, as well as Nate Santos of Dayton, who's really helped his stock over the past 12 to 24 months. Here is Janelle Davis, the Arkansas guard, going right to the 10 for 2 as he kisses it off the glass. Three minutes and change to go in regulation. A.J. Hogard being guarded by Shefflin. His pull-up jumper is swished home. Hogard up to 20.
Well, he showed us that first half that he can get to the hole and take hits, and now he's going to try to show us that he can still hit them threes too.
8 of 15 from the floor. Long-range jumper. It's a 2, though, for Joplin. Fingers on the line. Marquette's David Joplin with that hoop. Give him 13 on the day. 9 of 24 from behind the arc for Sales Systems compared to 4 of 25, just 16% for Roger Browns. It's been a tough day for Terrence Edwards, 1 of 10 from deep as Hogard is able to score off the glass, but Hogard with 22 points, he's yet to get a three-point shot as a couple of those long-range jumpers have been 2s for him.
Yeah, I mentioned 3 earlier. He's got the shooting form that he could probably hit threes, but right now he's in closer. And he went back to his drive there and knocked it down.
Edwards, the chance in transition, kicks it out to Battle, and he's going to call for traveling as it goes back over to the guys in blue. And we've got a timeout on the floor. 2:18 to play from Churchland High School. Sales Systems on top by 15 at the 71st Annual Portsmouth Invitational Basketball Tournament.
Welcome back to the Portsmouth Invitational Tournament on WGNT 27. Sponsored by the Auto Connection.
Winding down, Coach P.J. Honore speaking to Jawan Roberts, part of that national runner-up Houston Cougars team. P.J. was a heck of a player back in his day. Woodrow Wilson in Portsmouth.
Very good player. Very heady player. You know, I've noticed, I'm watching this Sales System, there are a few times in the timeout that Jawan Roberts runs the timeout. He sees some things on the floor, and he's a good,
I don't know if our camera caught that or not, but to your point, that's an astute observation by you, Coach Young. He had the
very adamant on some things and that he's very knowledgeable. I listened to him and he someday, but he's got a long while to play.
Edwards misses the 3. It's A.J. Hogard with it. Jump shot is good for Hogard. as he scores it again just inside the arc. He's got that good range. It's just a matter of can he be consistent on certain things in his game, and Hogard, has that quiet confidence. His three-point percentage dipped from 34.7% to 27.1% this past year, going from Michigan State to Vandy, 85 career threes. But he was the second highest usage rate guy at Michigan State 2 seasons ago, and he's been in some big environments, obviously playing for Tom Izzo in the Big Ten and then for Vanderbilt during his turnaround in the SEC.
Yeah, you mentioned about helping himself out on some of the things he does. Brings to mind another guy I think we'll see later on, R.J. Felton, East Carolina. He's had a couple of really big games, and he was the late addition replacement player for the young fellow that was hurt.
Oh, yeah, Augustus Marshallonis from St. Mary's couldn't participate, son of Hall of Famer Sarunas Marshallonis. So Felton comes in as a last-minute filler, and he's probably the second closest thing to a lock like Padula for all tournament here at the P. James Blackburn, because you did this on our podcast earlier today as there's about a minute and change to go. Fall away shot for Kobe Johnson is going to be no good. A rebound comes to Poplar that you put me on first team all hospitality room here at the PIT. There's the attack for Poplar. I know you're waiting with bated breath for this game to end and for the food to come out here before our.
No, I ain't saying a word. I just hope maybe if I do go, I have to go before you so there'll be something left. But
Hogard off the glass for two. Sales Systems is approaching that 100-point mark.
Yeah, I went there today to get something to drink, and they got a plaque of you up there already with both hands stuffed.
No, I think they saw you coming. Here's Shedrick with the rebound. Here's Hogard on the move, and it'll be a whistle here with 50.6 seconds to go in our ball game. We're looking forward to the third place matchup, Portsmouth Sports Club, Portsmouth Partnership in the championship, Janet King and K&D rounds. Last night was a memorable game with the matchup between K&D rounds and Portsmouth Partnership. Sometimes when you lose a great game, you wonder how the team's psyche is for that matchup, and certainly R.J. Felton was the headliner in that one.
Yeah, he and again, that's the young fellow. You got to wait to see him play. He looks like a linebacker. He is built very muscular. He does not miss weight room day at all. Had to be a tremendous two-sport athlete.
And his teammate, Matthew Cleveland, has the best first name here at the PIT.
Depends on who you talk to.
According to me.
It is a good one in the Bible, too, though. I will say that. There's a lot of Matthew in the Bible.
Goes out of bounds with 15.9 seconds to go. And he's played pretty well, has Matthew Cleveland. In fact, 20 points, I believe it was, in his first game for Portsmouth Partnership.
That's a team with H. Baldwin and that. They were down early in their first game and really became a whole different team in the second half to win it. And I thought they had a lot of great talent, and they do push each other on that squad.
Three-pointer won't go, but the follow is there for Terrence Edwards. Janelle Davis thought about the home run pass and said, he says, nah, I'll give it to Poplar and see if Poplar can do something here. He's going to get by Battle and be wrapped up. Oh, is it going to be counted? No, it's not. The official on that one, Kat Chang, says, nope, on the floor.
He got held. Let's put it this way. You see it on replay. It was a holding NFL. You throw a flag on that one. Everybody kind of got a laugh out of it. They didn't want him scoring.
So here is Poplar at the line. Give him 30 points in this game to go with 10 rebounds.
It's a good game for him. The young man is really, like I said, I think he's one of the best athletes here. He does have a skill set. He's not big and strong, but he gets away with things because of how athletic he is and what he does. And he knows the game.
That's going to conclude our ball game. The fifth place consolation game goes in favor of Sales Systems, 101-89. They close out the tournament 2-1. PJ Honore and Damon Jones's group. Roger Brown's finishing at 1-2 overall in defeat. Vanderbilt's AJ Hogard with 29 points, 12 of 20 shooting from the floor. 20 points for Gonzaga's Khalif Battle to go with 8 rebounds. He was a perfect 8 of 8 from the foul line. Wooga Poplar with 31 points. 10 rebounds, 11 of 23 from the floor. He was a perfect 6 of 6 from the foul line. 20 points for Arkansas's Janelle Davis to go with 5 assists, and 19 points for Ty Johnson of UC Davis. 5 assists as well for Johnson. Well, that will wrap things up before we sign off. Any final thoughts, Coach Young?
Yeah, and I feel good for these kids, these young men trying to get their looks, play. I just hope they keep playing hard when they're out here. You never know who's looking, and you don't want to ever miss an opportunity and have a regret later. At the same time, I hope they stay healthy so that they can keep on doing it.
I want to thank our entire team from Tori Bailey, Joe Allen, and Brian Martindale on camera, William Moorfield in our prep spin truck. For the coach, Ed Young, I'm Matthew Hatfield, signing off from Portsmouth, Virginia. Don't forget, we've got the 5 o'clock third place game in the 7 o'clock championship from Portsmouth, Virginia. It's the 71st annual Portsmouth Invitational Basketball Tournament.